Dapo, looking uncomfortable, tried to explain his reason for taking another wife, but the law was clear. Bigamy, marrying another woman while still legally married, was illegal under the law, especially with a court marriage. The judge listened carefully to both sides before making his judgment. This story is about a woman who sued her husband for taking another wife. Kindly sit tight and enjoy our story. Don't forget to subscribe and watch to the end. Stay tuned. Titi stood at the gate of NYSC camp in Lagos, excited, bubbling within herself. She has heard so much about 1 year mandatory service to her country, but nothing prepared her for the emotions of the moment. As she walked through the campground, memories of secondary school flowed. With her khaki uniform on her and her cap slightly tied, she felt ready to take on to the world. As she walked through the campground, memories of secondary school flooded her mind. It has been years she has seen her old schoolmates. They are all gone their separate ways after graduation, each attending different universities across Nigeria. One name, however, stood out clearly in her mind: Dapo. He's been a close friend back in those days, but they lost touch as life got busy. On the second day of the camp, Titi was in the parade ground with other corps members when she heard someone calling her name from behind. She turned around and there he was, Dapo, looking just as tall and confident as she could remember. His smile was as wide as ever, and he seemed just as surprised to see her as she was to see him. "Titi, is that really you?" Dapo shouted as he jogged over, clearly excited. Dapo, "Oh my goodness, it has been forever," Titi responded, laughing as they embraced. It felt as though no time has passed since their days at school. They spent the rest of the day catching up, sharing stories of their university experience, and talking and remembering their secondary school days. The connection they once had quickly rekindled, but this time there was something much more. Titi noticed that Dapo has matured. He was more thoughtful, more confident, and she couldn't help but feel something deeper stirring inside her. Throughout the 3 weeks of the camp, Titi and Dapo were almost inseparable. They participate in all the activities together, from morning drills to evening socials. Every moment spent together felt easy and natural. Their friendship from secondary school had enveloped into something more, and by the end of the camp, it was clear that they both felt the same way for each other. "I guess fate brought us back together," Dapo said one evening as they sat under the star enjoying the cool breeze. Titi smiles, her heart racing. It is. It really is. After camp, they were both posted to the same rural community for their primary assignment. It was a small town just outside Lagos, and which was far from the hustling and bustling of the city of Lagos. Titi was grateful for the peacefulness. Most importantly, she was happy that Dapo was by her side. The year passed quickly, with Titi and Dapo growing closer with each other each passing day. They spent their free time exploring the community, volunteering at local schools, and dreaming about the future. It wasn't long before Dapo officially asked Titi to be his girlfriend, and with a smile that could light up the entire town, she said yes. As their NYSC year came to an end, they both secured jobs in Lagos, Titi as an accountant in a reputable firm and Dapo as an engineer in a construction company. They were grateful for the opportunity that came their way, and for 2 years, their love grew stronger. They supported each other through the high and the low of life, building a relationship that was grounded in friendship, respect, and mutual love. One evening, after a dinner out in the city, Dapo surprised Titi with a proposal. He has always been thoughtful, but the way he knelt down, held out the ring was the moment she will never forget. "Titi, you have been my best friend for so long, and now you are the love of my life. Will you marry me?" he asked, his eyes filled with hope and love. Titi felt tears falling up from her eyes. "Yes, Dapo, of course, I will marry you." Their wedding was a beautiful affair, attended by families, friends, and even some of their old classmates from secondary school. It felt like a full circle moment for them. Two people who has met as teenagers reunited during their service to the country and now embarking on the rest of their life together as husband and wife. 2 years into their wedding, they lived happily, both successful in their career and deeply in love. They support each other's dream, traveled and built a home filled with laughter and joy. Whenever Titilola looked back at that moment in NYSC camp, when she first saw Dapo again, she could not help but smile. Fate has brought them back together, and their joy, their love story was not only just beginning. 2 years into their marriage, Titi and Dapo were still enjoying the happiness they had built together. Their home was peaceful, and their love for each other seemed strong. Though they had no children yet, they both had a great job and a bright future ahead of them. But one evening, as Titi sat at the dining table waiting for Dapo to return from work, she noticed that he has been acting differently. He has been distancing for a while, not the same cheerful and loving man she had married. He complained more often, and their conversations were no longer filled with laughter that they once shared. When Dapo finally arrived that night, Titi could sense something heavy on his mind. After a long pause, he sat across from her and spoke in a serious tone. "Titi, there is something I need to tell you," Dapo began, avoiding her eyes. "I have been thinking about this for some times now. There is a woman I met back in university, and we reconnected recently. I want to marry her as my second wife." Titi froze. The world hit her like a ton of bricks. She could not believe what she was hearing. Her heart raced as she tried to process what Dapo was saying. "What do you mean, Dapo? We are married. You can't marry anyone else," Titi replied, her voice shaking with shock and pain. Dapo smiled and leaned back on his chair. "I know it is difficult, but I want to manage 2 wives. She means a lot to me, and I think we can make it work. After all, some men have more than 1 wife." Titi shook her head. Tears flowed from her eyes. "No, Dapo. We did a court marriage, a statutory marriage. You know, that is not possible. You can't marry another woman. It is against the law, and I won't accept it. I thought we are happy together. Why are you doing this now?" "Dapo, is this a prank? It is not possible. You can't have another woman. You cannot marry any other wife except me alone. Our marriage is going to 3 years now. What did I do wrong? Have I offended you? Tell me, what did I do that wants to make you to bring another woman to this house? Have I offended you? If I have done anything wrong, tell me, I will apologize. But I know I have not done anything wrong, and I'm faithful to you." Dapo did not have any answer that satisfied her. Over the next few days, their argument grew more frequent. Titi pleaded with him to remember the love they once shared, but Dapo insists on his decision. He became distant, no longer caring about how much his words and action could hurt her. Dapo could leave the house for 2 months, not returning. One day, he returned with a woman that "This is the person I want to marry." Kemi greeted Titi. "Titi, how are you? My co-wife. We are marrying our husband together. Hope there will not be any problem." Titi looked at her and told her, "You are not going to stay here. We cannot stay in the same house together." After some weeks, Kemi and Dapo, they moved back to the house, making the house uncomfortable for Titi. Kemi will try as much as possible to hurt Titi's feelings at any time. She might want them to fight, but Titi always keep a distance away from Kemi and from Dapo. Things became unbearable for Titi. Finally, Titi made up her mind. She could not live in a marriage where her husband was planning to marry someone else. She knew that Court marriage means that he was legally bound to her alone. So she decided to take legal action. With a heavy heart, she went to see a lawyer and filed a case against Dapo for wanting to marry another woman while she is still married to her. After some months in the law court, Titi stood her ground. We did a court marriage and I won't allow him to marry someone else. He made a vow to me and I'm standing by my right as a wife. There should be no other wife except me. Dapo, looking uncomfortable, tried to explain his reason, but the law was clear. Bigamy, marrying another woman while still legally married, was illegal under the law, especially with a court marriage. The judge listened carefully to both sides before making a decision. Though Titi's heart was heavy, she knew she had done the right thing. She loved Dapo, but she couldn't allow him to break the vow they have shared or go against the law. The court rules in her favor, warning Dapo that he could not marry another woman without facing serious legal consequence. As they left the courtyard, Titi realized how much things has changed between them. She was sad, but she knew she deserved a marriage that is built with love, trust, and respect. If Dapo could not give her that anymore, then it was time to move on. Titi knew that if Dapo would marry another wife without first divorcing her, he would face significant legal repercussions, including imprisonment, annulment of their second marriage, and potential fines. Additionally, there is another emotional and social consequence that could follow him after such action. Under Nigerian law, if Dapo married another woman without first divorcing Titi, he will face significant legal repercussions, including imprisonment, annulment of the second marriage, and potential fines. Dapo and Titi went for counseling and explained to Dapo that taking another wife, it is bigamy, and bigamy is a criminal offense. Fines. In addition to imprisonment, there may also be a fine imposed, though this can vary depending on the specific of the case and at the judge's discretions. Legal costs. Dapo might also be responsible for the legal costs associated with the case, including any expenses incurred by Titi for taking such legal action against him. Emotional and social consequences. Damage to reputation. The public nature of a court case will harm Dapo's reputation, especially if he is convicted of a criminal offense. Annulment of the second marriage. The court will declare Dapo's second marriage void since he was still legally married to Titi. Any subsequent marriage will not have a legal standing. Impact on future relationship. His history of bigamy may affect his ability to enter into future relationship or marriage. If you like more of this story, kindly share our videos and subscribe to our channel. We look forward to seeing you in our next video.